All right, Lakers fans, let's dive straight into it because the buzz around Los Angeles is getting louder and louder, and it's not just about the usual headlines. We're talking about one of the most fascinating and potentially franchise-shifting questions the Lakers have faced in recent years: what to do with Austin Reaves. This isn't just a casual barbershop debate or a fun fan theory floating around social media. This has turned into a very real storyline that could change the shape of the roster, the balance of the salary cap, and even the identity of the team for seasons to come. And the reason it matters so much is simple. Reaves went from being undrafted to a fan favorite, to a rotation lock, to now a player whose value is both undeniable and incredibly expensive in the current NBA economy. Here's the thing about the Lakers. They aren't just chasing wins in the short term. They're chasing an identity that can hold up from opening night in October all the way through the grind of May basketball, and possibly June if things go right. That identity is built around two cornerstones in LeBron James and Anthony Davis, both of whom need the right system around them to maximize their strengths and minimize their wear and tear. The Lakers don't want to repeat the same pattern of going all in on star power without complementary pieces. They want to sustain LeBron, empower AD, and surround them with guards and wings who don't just look good in the box score, but make sense in the advanced math of today's game. This is where Austin Reaves comes in. His rise has been incredible. No one can deny that. From overlooked prospect to indispensable piece on a team with championship aspirations, he's earned every bit of respect. But the NBA isn't only about respect and stories. It's about cap math, roster construction, and what happens when your payroll gets squeezed by new collective bargaining rules. When you talk about Reaves and a contract that could climb into the $30 to $40 million per year range, you're no longer discussing whether he's good. Everyone knows he's good. The question becomes whether he's good for the Lakers' specific equation. Think about it. Once a player crosses into that kind of salary tier, he's not just another rotation guy anymore. You build your team around that money. You build around what he brings to the floor every night. And for the Lakers, that means asking some hard questions about what Reaves actually provides in high-stakes moments. When the first action of a possession dies, can he keep the advantage alive without resetting? When LeBron drives left and the help defense comes early, can Reaves shake free for that half-second catch and shoot? When Anthony Davis rolls into traffic, can Reaves be in the perfect spot to turn a tough contested shot into an easy finish? These are the small, unglamorous plays that decide playoff series. Now, layer on the human element. Locker rooms feel usage. Veterans know who should have the ball late in games. Coaches sense which lineups flow and which ones get stuck. A guard who plays in harmony with the stars multiplies their impact, while a guard who duplicates their responsibilities just adds redundancy. And duplication, especially at star-level money, is dangerous. Multiplication, on the other hand, is something you gladly pay for. For the fan base, though, the story of Reaves hits differently. Los Angeles loves the grind, the underdog who turns into a spotlight performer. This city has embraced players who fought their way from the shadows to the big stage, and Reaves embodies that spirit. But the front office doesn't live in the world of emotion and attachment. They live in the world of balance sheets, salary slots, and the ripple effects of every dollar spent. In the hard cap reality of today's league, if you give $30+ million to one guard, that directly shapes what kind of wings, bigs, and depth you can afford. And here's the loud reality that's making its way through league chatter. Austin Reaves might not finish this era with the Lakers. That doesn't mean a trade is imminent or that the decision is already made. But it does mean the indicators are strong enough that the possibility has to be treated as real. Reaves already declined the maximum extension the Lakers were legally allowed to offer. That wasn't betrayal. That was smart business. The open market could push his price well north of what the Lakers can stomach without sacrificing flexibility. And when you hear executives across the league acknowledging his value, it becomes obvious that he's not just a fan favorite. He's also an asset. So what are the options? There are really three paths the Lakers can take. The first is to keep him for the full season, trust that continuity and chemistry matter, and readdress the financial side in July with a clear picture of how he fits in a playoff run. The second is to find some middle ground, an early extension, or a renegotiation if his price softens, though that seems unlikely given the demand he'll face. And the third option is the one that nobody likes to talk about out loud. Trade him. Move his rising salary slot into a position of greater need, like a bigger wing defender, a stretch forward, or a point-of-attack specialist who can guard elite scorers without needing heavy touches on offense. That last option is brutal for fans, but it's real. The Lakers' weaknesses are no secret. They need more size on the wing, more defensive versatility, and more consistent shooting. If Reeves becomes too expensive, flipping him into a player who better balances the roster could be the front office's way of protecting LeBron and AD while keeping the window open. We've all seen the rumor mill spit out trade ideas that may look like fan fantasy, but the general framework points to a real need: length, defense, and playoff reliability. Of course, there's a strong counterargument. Reeves has proven he can coexist with stars without stepping on their toes. He bends defenses without hijacking possessions. He makes the offense flow in the gray areas, those messy, unscripted moments where instincts and chemistry matter more than set plays. And chemistry is not just a buzzword players like playing with him. That's not something you can easily replace with numbers on a spreadsheet. From a coaching perspective, especially under a system that values quick decision-making, ball movement, and spacing, Reeves is an almost perfect fit. He processes the game quickly, cuts at the right time, and knocks down spot-up shots at a rate above league average. The concern isn't whether he can play in the system. It's whether the Lakers should commit such a large portion of their payroll to a secondary creator when the team's offensive scheme is designed to manufacture good looks anyway. The cap table tells the story clearly. The stars are locked in. The Lakers need their mid-level contracts to deliver. They need a wing who can guard the best scorers in the West, so LeBron doesn't have to burn his legs in January. They need a defensive guard who can slow down elite point guard from the first dribble. If they keep Reeves, they'll have to find those pieces at bargain prices or via one big trade later that costs draft capital. If they trade him, they'll be betting on someone else to fill 30-plus minutes of guard play every night while sacrificing one of their best connectors. And here's the playoff math that really matters. In the second round, when defenses have scouted everything, do you trust Reeves to create shots against top-5 defenses? Is he a reliable B option when LeBron rests, or your steady C option when AD is the focal point? If the answer is yes, you pay the price and live with the consequences. If the answer is maybe, then the contract number becomes the sticking point. If the answer is no, then the front office will have to be honest and explore moving on, no matter how tough it feels. This is the tension the Lakers are living in right now. On one side, you have the undeniable chemistry, the story, and the growth. On the other, you have the hard math of the salary cap, the roster needs that can't be ignored, and the reality that teams across the league would love to lure Reeves away with a massive offer. All right, let's pick this back up because the Reeves conversation is just the start of something much bigger. When you zoom out and look at the larger picture, what the Lakers are really wrestling with isn't just about one player. It's about identity, timing, and survival in a conference where the margins are razor thin. The Western Conference is unforgiving. One bad matchup, one weak spot in the rotation, one contract that limits flexibility, and suddenly a season that looked promising in November ends with disappointment in May. That's why the Lakers front office has to be brutally honest about every decision, even when it involves someone the fan base adores. From a basketball perspective, the calculus gets even trickier when you consider the dynamic with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Both stars are still elite, but both need to be managed carefully. LeBron is in year 21 and still performing at a level most players can only dream of, but he cannot and should not carry the same load for 82 games. Anthony Davis is capable of being the most dominant big man in the league, but his health history means the Lakers have to be prepared for stretches where the offense needs another steady hand to create. This is where the argument for keeping Reeves gains serious weight. He's a player who can scale up his role when the stars sit, but doesn't demand touches when they're on the floor. That balance is rare. But here's the hard truth. Balance doesn't always align with the cap sheet. When you're paying two superstars max money, every other slot becomes more important. Teams in this situation have to make difficult choices about which skills they prioritize. Do you spend big on a guard who provides secondary creation and chemistry? Or do you allocate that money to a wing defender who might not be flashy but directly answers the playoff matchups that have burned you in the past? Look back at the last few years. The Lakers have consistently struggled against teams with long, switchable wings who can defend multiple positions. That's the kind of piece that often tips a series in the modern NBA. Now, imagine what happens if the Lakers do pull the trigger on a Reeves trade. Offensively, the team becomes more binary. Possessions revolve more directly around LeBron and AD, supported by shooters and defenders who keep the floor spaced and the defensive rotations tight. That could be a cleaner, more mathematical approach, one that limits turnovers and maximizes spacing. But the downside is obvious. You lose the jazz of the offense, the gray area playmaking that makes a good possession out of nothing. Reeves has a knack for those little moments. The hesitation dribble into a pocket pass, the sneaky cut along the baseline when no one's looking, the extra rotation on defense when everyone else hesitates. Those details don't always show up in the box score, but they matter in playoff basketball. If the Lakers decide not to move him, then the bet is straightforward. You're betting on the best version of Reeves in a contract year. You're betting on smarter drives, a consistent three-point shot, and defensive positioning that holds up against elite wings. You're betting on continuity and chemistry, which last season proved are still valuable even in a league that moves fast. You'd also be betting on bird rights, meaning the team could afford to match or re-sign him in July, even if it means going deep into the tax. That path is risky, but it might also be the one that preserves the unique chemistry this roster has been building. Health is another wild card in this conversation. If LeBron's minutes are managed carefully and he plays fewer games in the regular season, the Lakers will need Reeves to handle more on-ball responsibilities against top defenses. If AD goes on a dominant run where he's playing at MVP level, Reeves becomes the guy who can read those short rolls and keep the offense fluid. In those situations, he's not just another player. He's oxygen for the system. This is why the front office can't reduce the decision to spreadsheets alone. The bigger question might actually be philosophical. Do the Lakers see Austin Reeves as one of the three players who can decide a playoff series? Because if the answer is yes, they'll find a way to pay him, no matter what the number is. If the answer is maybe, depending on the opponent, then they'll keep every option open. And if the answer is no, then they won't hesitate to move decisively, because in Los Angeles the standard isn't good. It's contention. And contention means prioritizing every dollar and every rotation minute toward winning in April and May. Before we continue, we ask that you leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Lakers updates. Moving on, the buzz around Los Angeles has never been louder, and it's not just the hum of traffic down Figueroa. Whispers are flooding the NBA rumor mill. The Lakers may have pulled off the kind of move that could tilt the balance of power in the West for years to come. According to sources circling the league, the purple and gold are on the brink of forming a new dynamic duo, Bradley Beal and Miles Turner, a pairing some insiders are already calling unbeatable. The possibility alone has set social media ablaze. Beal, long regarded as one of the purest scorers in the league, would finally have the kind of stage that matches his talent. The bright lights of Crypto.com arena, the energy of Hollywood, the pressure of championships expected rather than hoped for. His ability to create offense at will, whether pulling up from deep or slicing through defenses, would give the Lakers the scoring punch they've often lacked when LeBron James isn't running the show. Then there's Turner. For years, his name has been linked in trade talks, always rumored, never realized. A modern big man who can defend the rim with authority and still stretch the floor with his outside shot. Turner could give the Lakers something they've sought since Anthony Davis arrived. A reliable partner in the front court who can take some of the defensive and physical burden off AD while still complementing him perfectly. The thought of Davis and Turner patrolling the paint, with Beal filling it up from the perimeter, is enough to make any rival coach shudder. Of course, nothing is official. Not yet. The Lakers' front office remains silent, the way they always do when the stakes are this high. But around the league, the chatter is deafening. Executives, Agents and players are already speculating how this move, if finalized, would reshape the Western Conference hierarchy. Could this be the next iteration of the Lakers' super team era? For now, it's just a rumor, but one that refuses to fade. The pieces fit too well, the timing feels too perfect, and the city is hungry for another title run. If the reports are true, the Lakers might have just found their unbeatable formula, Beal and Turner, in gold and purple, ready to write a new chapter in NBA history. Stay informed exclusively about Los Angeles Lakers news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep receiving daily updates. Also, share your opinion on the news in the comments, as your contribution is crucial for the Lakers. Stay tuned for the next video.